Maria had always dreamed of a brighter future. In her small village, where opportunities were few and hardships prevailed, she often daydreamed about love and adventure. The idea of becoming a mail-order bride seemed like a chance to escape her mundane life. When a letter arrived from America, inviting her to join a man who promised kindness and support, hope blossomed in her heart. She envisioned sunny fields, laughter, and a warm home filled with love. As she packed her few belongings, Maria was determined to make this new life work. Little did she know, the journey would take her to a town much different than she imagined. The bustling streets felt overwhelming, and the faces around her appeared indifferent at first. On the day of her wedding, dressed in a simple yet elegant gown, Maria stood before the altar with excitement swirling within her. She could barely contain her nerves as she glanced at her husband-to-be. Would he be everything she had hoped for? With each passing moment, she clung to her dreams of a fulfilling marriage that would sweep away all her worries and fears. The future seemed bright, but shadows loomed just beyond the horizon. As Maria stepped off the train, her heart raced with excitement and a hint of nervousness. The air was filled with unfamiliar scents, a blend of blooming flowers and bustling city life. She took a deep breath, soaking in the vibrant surroundings that contrasted sharply with her quiet village. Brightly colored storefronts lined the streets, and laughter echoed around her, painting a picture of joy and opportunity. Her new husband waited for her at the station, his smile warm and welcoming. Maria felt a flutter of hope as he took her hand, leading her through the lively streets. Each corner revealed something new: children playing, couples strolling, and friends sharing stories. She envisioned herself becoming part of this lively fabric, where every day held the promise of adventure. Maria's heart swelled with dreams of love, family, and a home filled with laughter. As they arrived at a small house with a white picket fence, she felt an overwhelming sense of belonging. This was her chance to create the life she had always longed for, and she was determined to embrace it fully, unaware of the storm that could be brewing just beyond the horizon. The day of the wedding arrived, and Maria couldn't help but admire herself in the mirror. The white dress, delicate and flowing, made her feel like a princess, its lace details shimmering in the soft light. She smoothed her hair back and took a deep breath, excitement mingling with anxiety. This was the moment she had dreamed of, yet doubts crept in like shadows. Would her husband truly love her? Would she fit into this new life? As she entered the church, Maria's heart raced. The stained glass windows cast colorful patterns on the wooden pews, creating an enchanting atmosphere. Guests murmured softly, their faces filled with smiles and anticipation. She took her place at the altar, surrounded by fragrant flowers that filled the air with sweetness. As the ceremony began, Maria's thoughts swirled. She felt beautiful in her gown, yet a knot of uncertainty tightened in her stomach. Her new husband stood beside her, handsome and hopeful, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to change. With each vow exchanged, she clung to the hope that love would conquer the unknown challenges ahead. As the ceremony progressed, Maria's initial nerves began to ease, and a warm glow of joy filled her heart. Her new husband, standing proudly beside her, leaned in to whisper something, but his words were drowned out by a sudden outburst of laughter from the guests. Maria's eyes widened in surprise as she glanced around, not quite understanding the cause of the mirth. Assuming he must have cracked a joke as part of the vows, she joined in the laughter, her earlier anxieties lifting momentarily. The sound was contagious. Guests tossed amused glances at each other, their smiles brightening the room. Maria's innocent joy felt like a refreshing breeze on a hot summer day, a moment that lightened the solemn atmosphere. Her husband glanced at her with a twinkle in his eye, enjoying her obliviousness to the actual joke. He had accidentally mispronounced one of the traditional phrases during the ceremony. While he may not have meant to be funny, Maria found herself reveling in this unexpected delight. The laughter united everyone in an atmosphere of warmth and connection, reminding her that love could bring happiness even amidst uncertainties. As the laughter echoed through the church, not all guests shared in the joyful moment. A few faces wore frowns, their brows furrowed as they exchanged concerned glances. Some older attendees whispered among themselves, exchanging judgmental comments about the ceremony's light-hearted tone. These contrasting reactions created an undercurrent of tension that Maria remained blissfully unaware of, still caught up in the happiness around her. On one side of the room, Maria's new husband's friends chuckled alongside her, appreciating the humor of the moment and reveling in the carefree atmosphere. However, on the other side, family members watched with worry, fearing a future that might hold difficulties for the newlyweds. The mix of emotions illustrated how differently people viewed love and marriage, adding a layer of complexity to what should have been an entirely happy occasion. As vows were exchanged, the air thickened with both joy and apprehension. Maria felt light-hearted amidst the laughter but sensed something was off, a lingering feeling she could not ignore. This blend of celebration and concern foreshadowed challenges yet to come, hinting that her journey would be far more complicated than she had imagined. As the honeymoon glow faded, Maria settled into her new life, filled with both charming moments and unexpected challenges. The small house, with its white picket fence, quickly became her sanctuary. Mornings started with the aroma of fresh coffee and the sound of birds chirping outside, filling her with warmth. Maria took joy in cooking traditional meals, hoping to impress her husband and bring a taste of home to their shared kitchen. However, as days turned into weeks, reality began to reveal its complexities. Maria faced language barriers that made simple conversations feel daunting at times. Her husband often worked long hours, leaving her alone with her thoughts and fears. She tried to make friends in the neighborhood, but often felt out of place, struggling to connect with women who had grown up in this town. Despite these challenges, there were moments of laughter shared over dinner and quiet evenings spent under the stars. In those fleeting seconds of joy, Maria held tight to her dreams of a happy family. Yet, beneath the surface, she sensed growing uncertainties that hinted at the struggles yet to unfold. As weeks turned into months, Maria and her husband's relationship began to evolve. They shared tender moments that brought warmth to their home, cooking meals together, dancing in the kitchen after dinner, and exchanging sweet notes that made her smile. On quiet evenings, they would sit on the porch, watching the sunset paint the sky in vibrant colors, feeling like a team navigating this new life together. However, the joy was often interrupted by disagreements. Small misunderstandings over chores or cultural habits turned into arguments that left Maria feeling frustrated and confused. Her husband sometimes didn't understand why she clung to certain traditions from her homeland, while she struggled to grasp his expectations of their marriage. These disputes, though minor, highlighted the cultural gaps between them and made Maria question whether they truly understood each other. Yet, every disagreement brought a chance for growth. After a heart-to-heart conversation, they would often find a resolution that strengthened their bond. Through laughter and tears, Maria learned that love required effort and communication, making her determined to bridge the gap between their worlds and build a lasting relationship. One evening, as Maria sorted through boxes in their attic, she stumbled upon a dusty old trunk. Curiosity piqued, she carefully opened it, revealing letters and photographs that told a different story of her husband's past. A past filled with betrayal and revenge. The words on the yellowed pages spoke of a love affair gone wrong and a bitter fallout with someone he once considered family. Maria's heart raced as she read the details, her joy turning to sorrow with each revelation. She learned of grudges that lingered and threats that loomed nearby, casting shadows over their supposedly happy life. This was not the gentle man she had married. This was someone haunted by ghosts that could disrupt their future. That night, unable to contain her turmoil, Maria confronted her husband about the discoveries. His initial reaction was one of anger and defensiveness, but as he realized the weight of his past could fracture their dreams, regret softened his demeanor. In that tense moment, they both faced an unsettling truth. Love could not erase the shadows of betrayal lurking just beyond their doorstep. That night, Maria's heart raced as she contemplated how to approach her husband. The weight of the letters pressed heavily on her mind, stirring a mix of anger, confusion, and fear. When he finally returned home, she felt a surge of determination. This conversation could no longer be avoided. As they sat together in the dim light of the living room, Maria took a deep breath, her hands trembling slightly. "We need to talk," she began, her voice steady but soft. Her husband's expression shifted from curiosity to wariness as she revealed what she had discovered. Each word felt like a knife slicing through the air between them, drawing out the tension that had accumulated since their wedding day. His initial defensiveness turned into guilt as Maria shared her feelings of betrayal. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked, her voice cracking with emotion. He struggled to find the right words as he faced the ghosts of his past. The room filled with a heavy silence as they both grappled with unspoken fears, the possibility that this confrontation could unravel everything they had built together. In the days following their confrontation, Maria felt a heavy weight of unease settling around her. The tension in the house was palpable, and her husband's quiet demeanor only deepened her worries. One evening, while he was out, she decided to look further into his past. As she searched through the trunk, she discovered a hidden compartment containing a newspaper article with a headline that sent chills down her spine. It detailed a violent altercation involving her husband, describing how he had been implicated in a brutal fight that left someone seriously injured. Fear gripped her heart as the implications sank in. This was no longer just a distant past filled with betrayal. It was a threat that could come back to haunt them. Maria realized she had been naive in believing their love could shield her from the dangers lurking in his history. With each passing day, she began to feel more isolated and fearful. She knew she had to protect herself, planning her next steps carefully, contemplating whether to confront him again or seek help from someone she could trust. Maria understood that love alone might not be enough to keep her safe from the shadows of his violent past. The sun hung low in the sky as the townsfolk gathered near the gallows, a grim spectacle that drew both fear and curiosity. Whispers floated through the crowd, tales of betrayal and revenge intertwining with nervous laughter. Maria stood at the edge of the gathering, her heart pounding as she caught glimpses of her husband being led toward the platform. The atmosphere was thick with tension, a storm brewing that mirrored her own inner turmoil. As he approached the gallows, she could see the unease etched on his face, a stark contrast to his usual confidence. Neighbors exchanged wary looks, and some dared to voice their opinions about justice and retribution. Maria's stomach churned. This was not just a stranger facing judgment, but the man she had married. She felt torn between loyalty and fear, grappling with the reality of his past. Suddenly, a loud voice broke through the murmurs, calling for silence. All eyes turned toward the platform as the executioner raised his hand, signaling that fate was now at hand. In that moment, Maria realized she could not stand idly by while her life hung in balance. She had to make a choice that would alter her future forever. As the executioner's hand rose, Maria's heart raced wildly. In that moment, surrounded by the crowd's anxious whispers and the heavy atmosphere of impending doom, clarity struck her like lightning. She could no longer ignore the truth. Her husband's violent past was a dangerous shadow looming over her life, one that could ruin everything she had hoped for. Looking into his eyes, she felt a wave of sorrow wash over her, but mixed with it was a fierce instinct to protect herself. The man she had loved was now an embodiment of threats she never anticipated. She recalled their moments together, the laughter overshadowed by growing tension and fear. The realization hit her hard. This marriage was not just troubled. It was potentially life-threatening. With adrenaline pumping through her veins, Maria made the decision to escape. She envisioned a life free from fear, where she could reclaim her happiness. As the crowd gasped and murmured around her, she turned away from the gallows, knowing that leaving would be the first step toward a future filled with possibilities rather than peril. With her heart racing and determination fueling her steps, Maria fled from the gathering, leaving behind the gallows and the echoes of her husband's past. As she navigated the darkening streets, a sense of clarity washed over her. This was not just an escape. It was a powerful act of reclaiming her life. She envisioned a future where she could build her own identity, free from the shadows that had haunted her. Seeking refuge in a nearby inn, she embraced the quiet space, allowing herself to breathe and reflect. The fear that had once consumed her began to transform into courage. Maria resolved to take control of her destiny, knowing it would mean facing the unknown ahead. With each decision she made, whether to seek help or to find a job, she felt stronger and more capable. The journey would not be easy, but for the first time, Maria felt hopeful instead of trapped. She would create a new life filled with possibilities, one where she could find happiness on her own terms. The weight of uncertainty still lingered, but she was ready to confront whatever challenges lay ahead, one step at a time. Maria's journey, from laughter in the church to tears at the gallows, reflects profound themes of freedom and resilience. Beginning with dreams of a brighter future, she faced unexpected challenges that tested her spirit and resolve. Each stage of her journey highlighted the stark contrast between hope and harsh reality, showing how quickly joy can turn into sorrow. In escaping her troubled marriage, Maria transformed fear into strength, proving that true courage often stems from hardship. Her decision to take control of her destiny symbolizes a powerful act of self-empowerment. No longer defined by the shadows of her husband's past, Maria learned to embrace the uncertainty ahead as an opportunity for growth. As she builds a new life independent of fear, Maria embodies resilience in the face of adversity. Her story serves as a reminder that even in moments of despair, one can find the strength to rise above and redefine their path. Ultimately, Maria's journey illustrates that laughter and tears are both essential parts of life's tapestry, revealing the dynamic nature of love, loss, and liberation.